Hello, this is just a very quick video on an experience I got during a holiday trip. During that holiday trip, I ordered 3 espressi, and the first one had a metal taste. Now I walked up to the lady that prepared, with a really nice machine, prepared, and a coffee grinder. They had everything professionally set up there. And I asked her how many coffees she did. And she said, well, usually per day 1 to 2 coffees. And I said, yes, that's the thing. Your coffee tastes has a metallic taste. And you can actually, if you want to try that, whether your machine actually has a metallic taste, what you can do is you can just pour out. There's no, there's no coffee in it. You just pour out the. You have to be a little bit careful. If you open too much, it could splash out. And then you see the color, and also you can see whether it has a metallic taste. I have to admit that this machine always has a little tiny bit of metallic taste, but I can't get rid of it because it may be here in this very old, it's I think 30 years old, even if I clean it. It has this metallic taste. So what the lady said, oh, then I have to press this button here and let the water pour through. And I said, yeah, that's exactly it. So do that, maybe half a liter or a liter per day. You should actually get through the machine. And so she did that, but she didn't give me a free coffee for this advice. Then the next place I went to was a very posh coffee bar, tea and coffee bar, and actually the guy, I think it was the owner of the place, he was very friendly and very knowledgeable about coffee, and so he served me an espresso, and the espresso was very sour, and it was really terribly sour. So I walked up to him and said, look, there is 5 things that could actually influence that your coffee is sour. And the first of all is, and that's what I want to say, is if these ones are not dark enough roasted. You know, I sometimes taste them, but I couldn't say whether it's... So you can go for this number, intensity, 8 out of 10. Here it is Lavazza, which I usually, not a top coffee beans, but it's okay. So I like it, and I think it would make a huge difference to use Illy coffee and paying like 2 or 3 times the money for the coffee. So this is how they were roasted. If they are roasted too light, then the coffee may be sour. The next thing is how to grind it. You know, if you can actually, if it has to be almost like, not really, but almost like flour, you know, and that at least for my machine, and you can adjust the grinding of the machine. That's number 2. And then obviously a thing is like to press the coffee, and here it is, in general you say 15 kilo, so I wouldn't vary on that. You can, if you see the coffee is a little bit old, you can vary a little bit, but we are now discussing whether why the coffee is sour. So the pressing I wouldn't consider. So it's roasted, it's the granularity, and then very important, it is the pressure, but it's not the pressure of this, because this is just like 1 or so bar pressure, but it is the pressure how you then actually pull the coffee through. So and here it comes to the 4th point. So I put the water on top of the coffee with a pressure of 0.8, and here it's a little bit too fast. It was like 2-3 seconds, and it should be 8 seconds. And now here, with that, I press quite hard. It's maybe 10 kilo or something like that. And then the coffee comes out, and you should give it at least 20 seconds, 25 seconds maybe to pour out. And that's it. And now I try whether my coffee is sour, and maybe it's not. I shouldn't say it's sour. No, it is not. It is not. I have to say, it's a little bit to the other side. It's a little bit kind of very strong roasted. So it's a little bit on the very, like not burnt, but like in that direction burnt. So it's not sour, but the opposite. And what I experienced is this guy, the owner of this place, he told me, yes, I know all these things. And he then brought me, without me asking something, he brought me 5 minutes later, he brought me another espresso. And now the thing is, this espresso was as bad as the first one. So, and he said, oh, how's my espresso? And I said, well, yes, it's better, thank you, but it's not quite there. So it was exactly the same. He didn't change anything. And so, important, roasted, how fine it is, the pressure, like how hard you press here, and then it should take at least 20 seconds to pour out. And now that means that you have to find the right granularity here. You have to find the right pressure to press the coffee, and you have to find the right pressure here to pull through, to press through the water through the coffee. So that is something you have to adjust. But if you go to a restaurant, the fifth argument is the water, but it's difficult to change your water. You live in that place and that's the water. You could use mineral water, but I don't want to go into these like very sophisticated details. In an Italian coffee bar, maybe they do something like that. But what I experienced is, so he was not able, this owner of the place was not able to actually adjust his coffee. So he continues, and I think he'll serve for many, many years his coffee, sour espresso. And then back in Germany, it was in Northern Ireland, a German island, we had in a very posh place, very expensive place, so where a meal is 25 euro per plate, so you could easily spend 50 euro without wine for food, just for one person. And the espresso was €2.60, and it arrived and it was sour as well. So it was a sour espresso. So I called the waiter and said, look, the espresso was sour. And she said, we are not allowed to change anything. Somebody adjusted the grinder and somebody adjusted the machine. We are only allowed to press these two buttons, and that's all we are allowed to do. So, well, and they didn't have time, so because otherwise I might have said, let's adjust it. But so they serve an espresso, which is really, really bad, and they charge €2.60. So that actually led me to kind of the principle to not order espresso at a restaurant, or maybe ask for before, go there, go to the counter and ask the guy if he is capable of preparing a coffee and if he knows these 5 rules: beans, grain, pressure, and time it goes through. Thanks for listening, and enjoy your espresso.